Here's 3 spring fragrance problems and some fragrances to solve them. Right off the bat, the most common issue I hear when it comes to those, spring, summer airy fragrances is that they just don't last. Fragrances that come to mind initially are Bergamasque from Art de Parisi, as well as Sospiro Vibrato. But the way they go about extending longevity is different. Bergamasques use basically like sandalwood synthetic molecules to give you the illusion of bergamot extending, all the way into the dry down. For Vibrato, it does have that very signature, well-known grapefruit accord at the opening. But then a lot of synthetic like Ambroxan and Isoi Super citrus molecules specifically that have to be in there that, is occurring in the essential oil. But dosed higher, can really affect the longevity and the portrayal of the fragrance. Problem number 2, it's often said that fresh fragrances are on the boring side, play it safe. What comes to mind is Bois Imperial from Essential Parfums. Also lasts long, funnily enough, and it's kind of more focused on the fresh and woody aspects of a, fresher fragrance. I think just the blending of all these synthetic molecules with, some naturals just gives you a rendition of a fragrance that maybe feels familiar to an extent, but also just will stand out and leaves an impression because of his style, his DNA of perfumery. For problem 3, fresh fragrances have to cost a lot to smell good. Got Hawas Verde and Le Dissi Pour Homme from Issey Miyake, and at the time of recording both under that $40 mark, especially Le Dissi. I think I even picked this up for 25 USD. Hawas Verde goes up and down in price. I think I got it around 40 to 45. One is an iconic staple in so many fragrances from Jacques Cavalier's early work. If you're more of a nostalgic collector, this is definitely one to have. You're gonna get that signature yuzu accord. No matter what point in time in the fragrance industry, people were able to be so creative with the materials they have. And yeah, this is a great representation of that creativity. And then Hawas Verde, this is kind of a modern staple, a take on Sereno 21 from Xerjoff. People have various takes on the clone community, the clone market. Again though, if you do want something affordable, it's really hard to beat this. You can just see this being ideal for people who don't have too many fragrances in the collection. They're not like a huge aficionado or enthusiast. They just want a staple collection. This kind of checks off everything. Anyway, it's Patrick here. I'll see you in another. Take care.